Yo.
Hey, baby. What's up, everybody?
We've moved to a new level in our relationship. I wasn't even aware of.
That's a throwback to True Romance. That's the Elvis voice, isn't it? Val Kilmer's
No.
Elvis voice?
No, that is Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh, all right. All right. Good to know. It ain't white boy day, is it? It ain't. Oh, I should have got like a scar on my eye or something.
Keep it up and you will have one.
You can't reach me for like a stick comes through my window.
Last time I did that, you fell over.
Oh, man, I got wrecked pretty good and destroyed this chair. I'm surprised it still moves. Welcome, everybody, to the Sidekick Show. I see Lewis in the house, Sarah's in the house, Fraser's in the house. Anyone else hiding out, thank you for joining us. If you are watching this on the rewatch, join the live stream every Monday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where my good buddy Rob and I try to entertain you for the night.
And your best.
Yeah, what do we want to do, Rob? Do we want to dive right into this flash hype, or you want to warm up with something?
Let's warm up with something. Let's see what we got up to this weekend. And John, I'm going to kick it off to you, bud.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? What did you get up to? What have you watched in the last week?
I'm trying to think of what I watched. What did I watch? Oh, I've been watching Your Honor. I don't know if you ever got into that, Rob. I feel like we've never discussed it. Yeah. So Bryan Cranston is killing it in this show. In the second season, they're on episode like 3. They call them like episode like numbers, like 13, 14, whatever.
Okay.
But I've been watching it, but it's really crazy, especially if you know how the first season ends. That they could even get a second season. I'm like, what are they going to do for the second season? So I'm really impressed by that. I did get halfway through that Whitney Houston movie, I Want to Dance with Somebody. That's available on digital now. And it is fun to hear these Whitney tracks. I'm not sure how deep the movie's going to get at the beginning. It just seems like they're just kind of telling a little bit about her past, and then they dive into a song. So Whitney Houston, one of the greatest.
Sounds like you're disappointed by the movie.
I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. It's a biopic, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I was expecting like Dreamgirls or something along those lines. I feel like it when you watch those things and you just want to listen to the music now instead or whatever.
Okay.
You hear people talking about the whatever, and then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go listen to her greatest hits or whatever. But yeah, we'll see.
The last two big biopics on artists would have been Bohemian Rhapsody, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Queen, and then Rocket Man about Elton John.
Yeah.
Which are both really, really stellar. So I don't know if you've seen those, but if you have, do you think this is just riding the coattails on a lesser budget?
I think,
or do you think it's
I haven't dived deep into those movies. I've seen parts of them, but this is not diving as deep. It feels like a little bit more of just telling the story for people that didn't know of how she kind of got into the industry. It's got Stanley Tucci as Clive Davis, which is pretty funny.
Okay.
So I'll have to see how it gets out to the end. I got to the part where Bobby Brown shows up. So we'll see. I'm not happy with the Bobby Brown casting. And you know what they did, Rob? They played.
Well, it's not your prerogative.
Yeah. They play the music. They play the doon 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 doon, and then he doesn't sing. They just cap off the song. So I think they didn't get the rights to use his voice. So it's like, we only paid for Whitney songs. So that's it. So I'll report back if it was worth catching it or just dust off your favorite Whitney Houston album. But Rob, I'm sure you got up to a little bit more than me. How you doing? How's your time on the rink? Is it nice and cold there?
Buddy.
Have you started bringing like a whole bag of stuff to just like unpack like a picnic while you're waiting?
No. I hop on one foot, and this weekend, thankfully, the rinks had the heaters on, so it wasn't that bad. So last week, I don't remember where we were, but I had told you, I think I had mentioned this last week's show that I had finished off the Green Lantern Jeff Johns run. So did I mention that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I crushed those Omnis, and I started and finished the Jeff Johns Aquaman Omnibus, which is just a fantastic run. It's only ever released one. He only did 26 or 28 issues or whatever, and that was it.
Yeah. Arguably the best Aquaman run in comic history.
Potentially comic history. I don't know what's come lately that's matched it.
Yeah. There was some stuff before, when he loses his hand and all that kind of stuff. That was
Mark. Was that Mark Waid stuff.
I don't remember, but it was pretty intense back then. But I think nothing has topped that run of we were able to recommend. It's very rare that someone would walk into a comic shop and you'd be able to go, you know what you should be reading? You should be reading Aquaman.
Yeah.
Very rare occasion.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100% check that out. Good.
No, definitely really cool. But I have to make a confession, and I'm hoping I'm in a safe space here, John.
Yeah, like Usher.
Yeah. Listen, man, you know, when you're reading something really, really, and and then you get in your head, you're like, you know what? I'm going to revisit this. You know, like you're reading a Jack Reacher movie, novel, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to rewatch the Tom Cruise movie or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you get all into the hype, like you're into the material, and you're just like that. I got to tell you, I had something like needling away in my brain after reading the Jeff Johns Green Lantern runs. Like that was, 2,300 pages, right? Just those last 2 volumes. And I was just like, something kept bugging me. I got to do it. So John, I caved and I watched the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie again. And there are parts of that movie that are okay. But it's still just not good.
Oh my God. Okay, so my take on it is I didn't see it in theaters. I watched it way afterwards, after everyone had trashed it. And when I watched it, I was like, this is not as bad as people say. But I haven't watched it again since. So
yeah, I went to the theater to see it. Like, okay, honestly, there are some parts of it that I was like, you know what? I'm okay with. I liked, like the flying scenes. I liked some of the stuff. I wasn't a big fan of the design of the outfit or whatever. And the fact that it was mostly on Earth. But there is a lot. I mean, it was co-written by Jeff Johns. So you could tell he took a lot of his stuff and adapted it and it just like, you just wish it stayed out in space. Like, it was just, but it's not that great, but there are parts of it. You're like, that's passable. But as a whole, the sum of its parts don't equal a fantastic movie, man. That is a false fake news.
Were you okay with when he made like Hot Wheels tracks and stuff, like very, very clear marketing?
Yeah, no. The guy who played Hector Hammond, I can't remember his name right now. Very good actor, an amazing actor, but in that he was like terrifying. He was
it
crazy.
Peter Sarsgaard or something like that?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Skarsgård. Yeah. But he was awesome, and like he's a really good actor. So I really enjoyed seeing him in that role, and he played it he was so creepy. Like he was creepy even with Carol, played by Blake Lively.
Yeah.
Just like hovering and just like even before he got the stuff. So at any rate, I had to get off it was my confession. I couldn't watch it and then not bring up the fact that I hooped myself over the weekend and watched.
If you can find it, that animated show that came out like a little bit after that, it's like a 3D. I don't know what it looks like now because everything that is computer, like 3D animation, sometimes doesn't age well. But it was a really, really good show. I think it ran. It did get an ending to it, but yeah.
I would say that the better out of the two, I had 2 things to choose from.
Yeah,
it was that, or it was the animated movie that came out around the same time called First Flight.
Yeah,
and that is really good.
Yeah,
and I decided to go with
you gambled. You're like, it's been a while. Maybe you got a bum rap. I like Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds has been spotted in and around Toronto lately, so maybe you were gonna bump into him. And you'd be able to go, you know what, Ryan? I rewatched Green Lantern, and it's not bad, man.
Yeah, I think he'd probably slap me. So what?
He's like, I retconned that. I specifically put it in Deadpool so I could retcon it.
Yeah. So that's really I didn't actually get up to a lot of like movie or TV watching. I've really just been reading, and I just started the David Michelini, Todd McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man on me. So
okay.
I've just been just crushing that stuff. Of course, Sarah says the latest episode of Last of Us was so good. I did watch, obviously, The Last of Us on Friday.
Yeah, so. This is the episode that came out early, right? It came out on Friday.
Yeah, it came out on it aired on Crave on Friday. So you were able to stream it, but if you don't have Crave, you had to wait till last night, Sunday, on HBO. In Canada on the HBO Guide to be able to watch it. So
I forgot that there's a discrepancy that with the streaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But did you guys enjoy watching it on the Friday, or did you guys end up leaving it till Saturday, Monday night, or even did you watch it instead of Super Bowl? Because I know we don't sports. So
Well, for me, I was out Friday night at a friend's house, so I ended
Yeah.
up watching it Saturday morning at 8:30
in the AM. And was it still as intense?
Yes, I had the lights off. I was drinking coffee.
Yeah.
It was cool. I
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm an episode behind, so I'm actually on episode, I think it's 4, the one right before.
Okay.
I'm right at the beginning, and the show is just, it's good. I want to savor it, right? I didn't want to just put it on in the background. I actually want to sit down and watch this show because I think it really shows the amount of effort they're putting into this. And someone had mentioned it over the weekend. Yeah, you really see that HBO's got kind of like a higher level of storytelling going on.
Yeah.
Sarah does also. Go ahead, Rob.
No, I was going to say, I'll put up Sarah's comment in a second. This makes me laugh, though. Yeah. Lewis, I'm waiting until Last of Us series is done before I watch it. I'm calling bullshit. We'll see if Lewis actually gets to watching it.
Yeah. Lewis, check it out. I think it's pretty good. Even a lot of us that haven't played the game, I've talked to many people in the shop who haven't played the game at all and are really loving the show and want to play the game now, but they're kind of putting it off until they get a little deeper in, I guess.
Dude, my mom is enjoying the show.
That's great. Yeah, you reported back last week. She was like, "Should I be watching this? Everyone's talking about it." You know.
Yeah, but she was like, "Should I watch this zombie show?" And I'm like,
yeah. When I'm around the water cooler at work, they're like talking about the show, and I don't know what's going on.
No, she's loving it. So
all right, cool. Yeah, I see. My feed now. I see all these feeds of people posting like funguses that take over insects. And like they do what happens in the show, and I'm like, yo, the show is already immersive enough, and I'm already scared. You don't need to post that this stuff is going down in real life. So yeah, shout out to that. Sarah mentioned she watched part 1 of the 4th season of You, which I thought was crazy because I told my wife, I'm like, oh, your favorite show is back, jokingly because she loves this guy that murders people. But she's like, I'm waiting for part 2, and then she's gonna binge it all. And I'm like, what? They split this thing into 2 sections? Netflix. Just do it. Just go to weekly, guys. Like, don't do this half and half. It's kind of weird. Sarah, let us know what you thought of watching just half of it. Are you mad? Do you wish the rest of it came out? Would you have waited for all of it to come out? Like, or are you going to enjoy rewatching it when the second? Like, it's a weird format. I really didn't like it for Ozark. I don't know what else they've applied it to. Stranger Things, Rob. What do you think with it?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really good because it felt like it needed that. It was such a powerful finale, like that part 1 finale. You needed that breather.
Yeah, but was it a split or did they just go, "Hey, we're saving these 4 episodes for later," the finale run or whatever?
No, it was a split. It was it was season 4, episode 1, and then and then part B or whatever. Yeah.
Michelle says the Green Lantern credit openings were nice, and then downhill. I think it goes downhill right from whatever the logos for the movie studio scroll across. It's like and then you're like, oh god.
That's 20. You're doing the 20th Century Fox fanfare. That's
was it not for Green Lantern? Was Green Lantern New Line Cinema?
Warner Brothers, man. What's wrong with you?
Is that Bugs Bunny and the Animaniacs the Water Tower intro?
That's right. Yeah. It was Wacko and Taco came out.
And Dot. Don't forget Dot.
And Dot. Yeah.
Would you rather rewatch Wonder Woman 84 again or watch Green Lantern again?
Green Lantern. I haven't seen Wonder Woman 84 since we reviewed it back in December of 2020.
Have you ever been tempted? Has anyone in the comments, have you ever been tempted to fire back up?
Yes, I have. I have been tempted. I've been tempted to be like, was it really that bad? But I just can't do it.
Yeah, it sucks because I actually remember I kind of liked who played Cheetah, Kristen Wiig or something like that.
Kristen Wiig, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I thought she gave a pretty good performance and I liked seeing her, and it's completely gone from my mind now. So whatever clout she might have got from playing that role and action roles that might have come her way, I feel like it definitely didn't happen. So yeah, Lewis is saying hell no. Fraser is nope, not gonna do it. What does Michelle say? Oh, she didn't even finish it once. I think you are ahead of us. That's awesome. I wish me and my buddy Pat watched it, and right at the midpoint we went to get food and we were like, maybe we don't go back to this. I wish we didn't come back because then we could live in this world where we don't know if it got better or worse at the end. But yeah, it got worse.
Yeah. I just so bad.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, let's wrap that up. If anyone else has got something they did during the weekend that maybe they forgot about, or maybe we'll remember something later on, Rob. I know the week goes by pretty crazy, especially you got a lot of things going on. Maybe you'll be like, oh yeah, I did finish this entire.
Well, you finished Tulsa King.
I finished Tulsa King. Oh, guys, whoa, so disappointing. 2022, I think, was definitely the year of disappointing closers, finales. I don't know what you would call it. But yeah, Tulsa King really just. Rob, you said you were okay with it. We're talking about the Sylvester Stallone show. It started off. I thought it was going to be like a new Justified. That's how high I was placing it, and the ending was completely phoned in, wrapped up. It felt like sometimes, like, I don't know how many network shows you still watch, Rob. Maybe The Rookie.
That's about it.
That's it. Yeah. It felt like I was like, what the hell happened? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I was like, what the hell happened? What did I get transported into, like, CSI level of, which is fine. Some of those shows, you watch them during dinner or whatever, and then you turn off the TV and they're kind of disposable. But I was not expecting this from a premium TV show. So I don't know what's worse, Halo or this. I think Halo still takes the cake. Paramount Plus. Halo. But yeah, I immediately washed the taste out of my mouth by watching a couple episodes of the new Mayor of Kingstown. So watch that. Tulsa King. Sorry, Sly, you really let me down on that one. So yeah, we'll get back to that. What about Super Bowl, Rob? Since we're going to segue into some things that went down at Super Bowl, did you watch any sports? Did you bet $1 million like Drake on? I don't know what TV bet on. But
yeah, he bet stupid money on stupid shit. No, yeah. So, anyways, I watched the entire damn thing. I got to tell you.
Really, like the football game?
Yeah, man.
Okay, I only watched the halftime show, but yeah, how was the football game? Was it entertaining?
It was entertaining. I will admit that the last quarter I was finishing reading my Aquaman run. So I was on the couch reading, and I got to wear glasses when I'm reading at times, John. So I was nerd. I was like old school. I had I was reading and I had to.
You go with the bifocal dealies?
No, I don't have that. So So anyway, I thought it was a really good game. I know some people were not happy. I saw one guy. It was there's this video going around, and if you haven't seen it now, you likely will this week. This one dude was standing in front of this massive TV that's anchored to the wall, and he's got all his friends, and he gets. I guess the call happens where Philly gets called for holding, and this guy whips the football at the screen and then starts punching the TV, and his friends start freaking out, and the TV falls onto the ground. He starts just stomping and kicking it.
He starts ground pounding it.
And then his friends are trying to just screaming at him, and he was talking about how much money he's blown on this game. He's all this money he bet, and he's lost all this money. And I'm just like, you not only are you out all of that money, but now you owe your friend a new TV. So some people were not happy with
if he destroyed someone else's property, that's 100% not cool. If it was his own property, and then he's just a dummy and he's gonna have to pay for it. And some people are fine with that. But you never know with these videos. Sometimes they're scripted, or
it could be fake,
or
right?
Or trying to go viral and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll pop up on your feed this week, especially right now. I'm sure Alexia, Google, whatever is listening in right now, and it's going to be in your feed right after you close the show.
But you did not watch the game, but you watched Rihanna.
I didn't watch the game. I tuned in for Rihanna. I was a little disappointed she didn't bring out any of her feature artists, but the thing that she was doing, that suspended thing in the air, was ridiculous. I'm like, why would you do this? You are worth so much money. You don't need to be up on this thing dangling in the middle of the air. She was like attached to it, but I'm still like, this is ridiculous. When did this become a Tron video game? But it's a little crazy.
I was thinking, I was like, you're high up, and like it's suspended by on the four corners, but like listen, if it was a decent wind, that thing would have been moving a little bit. Like I don't know, man. How do you not get vertigo at one point? Like I know she would have been rehearsing all week, but on that thing going up and down, but still. And then like when you're watching it, my wife is like, "Is she pregnant?" I'm like, "I don't know. She doesn't return my phone calls."
She might be in. Someone might be on the hook.
She ghosted me on Instagram messages. And then to find out she's pregnant, you're like, "Holy shit, man! She's pregnant." I don't know how many months. Who cares? Her publicist said she was pregnant, but then to be that high up. And because I noticed that she was moving very slow. Like I noticed that her dance moves were very, very slow. And I was like, she looks pregnant to me. So, but then to be high up as well, I don't know, man. The one thing that always kind of irks me about the Super Bowl is that not every artist does this, but a lot of them, they do a lot of the lip syncing, and it drives me absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but who knows what the audio connections and that kind of stuff or whatever goes behind the scenes. But yeah, if you clearly see them lip syncing, that sucks.
John, I got fooled back in the late 80s with Milli Vanilli.
Milli Vanilli? Girl, you know it's true?
Time accepting people and their lip syncing.
What a big controversy back in the day. You guys, you folks, you young cats, probably don't know nothing about Milli Vanilli.
Girl, you know it's true.
Yeah, play Girl, You Know It's True and Blame It on the Rain back to back.
Blame It on the Rain. How many times, John, did you sit there and you had like, you know, some moments with a girl and you put that song on and you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, or you're in your school dances, you're dancing, slow dancing, and Blame It on the Rain's coming up and you're like, oh, it's Rob and Fab, and you know that they're singing this song about love, and then you realize it was like a bunch of fat guys that were actually doing it. It had nothing to do with those two guys, man.
I think the first song allegedly they sang. So yeah, Blame It on the Rain. Put it on your playlist tonight, folks. It was fun times. But all right, so there's a bunch of other cool stuff that happened for the Super Bowl, and I think that's what people are going to want to talk about. A bunch of the stuff dropped right before the Super Bowl started. I feel like. I thought we were going to have to wait till it aired and all that kind of stuff. But we're talking trailers, folks. Hell, a lot of trailers dropped, a lot of information. Yeah. Do you want to dive into Flash, Rob, or you want to talk about the others first?
Let's talk about the others.
Yeah, let's warm up. All right, folks. So if you guys saw a Wicked trailer this weekend, let us know. Rob's going to stretch it out. He's going to stretch those hammies.
You know, I think I might have pulled a muscle.
Those ballistic stretches going on. But yeah, okay, let's go, Rob. There were at least 3 big ones, right? Fast and the Furious X, but I feel like it dropped the night before, right?
Yeah, so that Fast and the Furious dropped, I believe it was on Friday.
Yeah.
So that you sent in our private chat, you were like, this is my Infinity War or Endgame or whatever. Like you were like next level hype.
Yeah.
And you know my feelings on the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah, we did a review. You guys can dig it up. We did a review of Fast and the Furious 9.
Yeah.
And Rob wasn't too happy.
No. But I got to tell you, John, I will tip my hat. I won't tip my hat for Vin Diesel, who looks like he's in his 70s, but I will tip my hat to the fact that trailer, man, was pretty rad. Like I was really impressed with that trailer. I thought it was very interesting that it's going back to Fast 5, which was arguably the best of the series and what reinvigorated that series. And so I actually quite enjoyed that trailer. I will go see that movie in the theater, John. I was that impressed with that movie. But this is all on you, my friend. What were your thoughts?
Yeah. So Rob, you think you would have ejected if the trailer, like if you didn't, before seeing this trailer, would you have been like, I don't think I'm gonna.
Yeah, I had zero. I was like, oh, they're gonna go to Mars or something. Like, who gives a shit, right? Like,
it sounded like it could be potentially messy. You know, the original director left.
Yeah.
There's all this static in the news about The Rock and Vin Diesel, so maybe The Rock was going to be a key element to like wrapping this up or something like that. So it wasn't looking good.
No.
But yeah, that trailer, I think it delivered if you like the Fast and the Furious franchise for what it does, which is just bonkers, crazy, over the top stuff. I got really excited seeing all these familiar faces coming back, and then some new faces. Jason Momoa is a villain. I love a good villain, and I think we're going to talk about that when we start talking True Romance later. But it's fun when they make interesting, cool villains, and I think Momoa is going to do this. And they may have played their villain flips into a good guy card too many times, so he might actually stay as a villain. So we'll see how that goes. But I like the kind of interweaving of, like you said, bringing back 5, which is arguably the strongest of the series, the turning point. I guess you could debate 5, 6, 7, which one is like the best one,
right?
But if you're going to go anywhere, go back to 5 to wrap this up, because that's what most people are going to remember.
Yeah, but they have one more after this.
Yeah, I think they got two more. Like, yeah, one more. But I guess this is maybe going to end on a cliffhanger, and then going to wrap it up. But yeah, I don't know. I was really hyped for this so much. I mean, a lot. And I actually didn't like the last one. I liked first one out of the pandemic. We saw it, right? But the two before that, which are, if my counting is correct, 7 and 8.
Yep.
7 and 8. Yeah, 7 and 8. I wasn't huge fan of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I've been pulled. I feel like I just appreciate this series because now I'm looking back at Fast and Furious 1 and thinking we grew up on, like, how long has the Fast and Furious franchise dominated the theaters, right?
Yeah, well, it's 20 plus years.
Yeah. Well, I guess since the first one, but the first 1, 2, 3 came out kind of were like hits, and then 4 comes out and launches into 5, which just then takes over all of moviedom in the summer, right? But I just feel like I've been along for the entire journey. Michelle made the joke about family. I feel like, yeah, if you counted the amount of times I said family in the trailer, it's probably excessive. I did like at the end when they're like end of the road, and I'm like, yo, kicking the Boys to Men song, kicking the Boys to Men song. That would have been perfect for me.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised. I was like, oh boy, another slow song for John to put on his car as he's driving down the streets of Unionville.
Yeah, I'm excited. All the cars. I saw a bunch of cars. I saw a car that looked like the Nova from Vin Diesel's Triple X movie. So we'll see if we're getting some multiverse action in here.
All right.
But yeah, so that's Fast and Furious X, folks. If you guys had any thoughts of it, I heard a lot of people at the shop did not like it.
Really?
They think it's excessive. They think this is too much. I think they're sick of, you know, how some of us may be superhero fatigued. They are possibly Fast and Furious fatigued.
Or is it Vin Diesel fatigue, or is it Fast and Furious fatigue?
I have I talked to my brother. My brother is very much so. Vin Diesel's got to go. If you want these movies to continue, Vin Diesel's got to wrap up whatever he's doing, and move on and let some younger or fresher blood take over. Which 100%, yeah. That part in the trailer where he stops and smiles looks 100% CG. I'm like, what? You couldn't get a good smile out of Vin Diesel? That you had to CG it up? Like, it's really weird. Go back and watch it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Did you buy your tickets? Because now tickets are on sale. And I got to say, I don't think I've seen an advanced ticket sale date this far out from a movie before. Like, this is huge. Like, that's 4 months.
Yeah. It's a ways out, and you can buy now. I think I'm going to go and see it on the Thursday, which is usually my jam. And all the other guys that go with me or whatever, they're like, whatever, it's so far later, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so just buy it and then we'll worry about it later. I'm like, all right, whatever. So yeah, it's crazy, but yeah,
I think that's the long weekend. That's the May 2-4 weekend up here in Canada.
Oh, okay.
And I am going to be away because my daughter's in a dance competition. We'll be out of town, so my son is not, and he's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to go with somebody else. Well, you don't. Yeah, I'll send him with you.
Let's go, Noah. Let's go, Fast and Furious. I'll help you enjoy this movie the proper way, and you can turn to me and go, what car is that? And instead of your dad going, I don't know, it's a fast car. It's probably got like a 12-speed sequential transmission.
Yeah,
but yeah. Let's go. Anyways, all right. Fast X looks like people don't really want to talk about that. Let's go. What's the next big trailer, Rob?
Well, we saw a big trailer for Guardians 3. The second trailer, we got the first one in the fall. That was kind of tugging on heartstrings, and now we got this one, which kind of shows a lot more of the playfulness that we're used to seeing in the Guardians, like the more of the comedic aspect of things. So. What are your thoughts? I mean, that's May. It's the end of the Guardians trilogy and the current iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy as we know it. So what are your thoughts on that one?
There was a lot to take in. I was like, yo, there's a lot of animals in this for some reason. they really upped this animal content in the Guardians. I did like seeing the suits, like those Guardians with the red stripe. With like blue leathers. I did like seeing those suits.
Classics, yeah.
And I did enjoy the music is always on point for these movies. I did enjoy hearing some like a kind of like a music that I'm not familiar with, but you know, it looks like I'm going to get in on there, right? My favorite part of the trailer is the Nebula joke, where it's like Grimoire's like, you keep describing all this stuff, and it's like, and it sounds like her. And then Nebby's like, yeah. The funny voice that Karen Gillan does is hilarious. And then she's like, stop it. He's like, oh, your eyes. Is like, my father got these for me from torture or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a nice set. It's a pretty set.
Yeah.
But Rob, what are you feeling? I know Flash trumps this trailer 100%, but are you not excited for Guardians? I know you recently went on the Guardians ride, everything like that in Disney. So
that's so good.
Are you not excited for this?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I am excited for it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to how it's going to. I still think Guardians 1 is better than number 2, and I'm kind of hoping that I want to see how this one pans out. Yeah, I'm excited for it for sure. And it'll be interesting to see. It's kind of bittersweet, right? Because it's the end of the of that. Again, that group as we kind of know it. We don't know what iteration of Guardians will be going forward, but we also know that James Gunn won't be involved either. So if there's a Guardians 4 or whatever, it won't be with James Gunn as far as we know. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it will be nice when if it resolves it as a nice ending. I mean, I think we're gonna have this good. Listen, there's gonna be loss. Undoubtedly, there's gonna be loss. But hopefully, it's a nice ending and it doesn't leave you feeling robbed of anything, right? So,
do you think Gunn is gonna be on the press tour for this, or he's just too busy with the DC stuff, where he can't show any like allegiance to something like this? Because someone mentioned it to me the other day. I'm like, I don't know if they're going to keep the kind of Marvel versus DC stuff in these Hollywood movies, but he is a big deal at DC now, right?
Yeah.
But he's answering a lot of stuff via Twitter, but I don't know if anyone's asking him stuff about Guardians 3.
Well, no, he's promoting it. Like he promoted Guardians 3. He will probably be out there promoting Guardians. I think he's probably contractually obligated to do so. So unless Kevin Feige is like, no, we don't want you out there, then I think for sure he will be. I mean, he's online promoting it and talking about it. So I think he'll be out there doing something in some capacity, but it's going to be hard because inevitably people are going to be asking him, well, what's going on with Superman? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? What are your expectations? How do you avoid, any of that? Right. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting few months. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I look forward to Ant-Man kicking off. Is Ant-Man the official kickoff for this new phase, I guess?
It is. Yeah. Phase 5 drops this week. Thursday night, Friday morning is Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Yeah. And then this will be part of, I guess, technically that phase, or is it still considered part of the previous phase?
Phase 5.
Yeah,
phase
so
5.
It's all phase 5. So folks, we're going to be very interested. I know phase 4 got a thrashing critically and fan reaction wise. So but let's move on to the jam, Rob's jam, because I see a lot of people in the comments already want to talk about
Indiana Jones and the
Did they drop a trailer for that? That would be.
They did Transformers, Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah,
they did like TV spots. And the Transformers one, you got to see Pete Davidson's whatever. I can't remember if it's Mirage or whatever he is.
They revealed that character is actually Mirage. That's now a Porsche, and Jazz formerly was the Porsche and all that kind of stuff. But we'll see. I think it's fine. This is the movie continuity. I wouldn't get too hung up on it. All kinds of cars were not what they were supposed to be,
right?
And there's all kinds of licensing issues when it comes to cars now and stuff. So yeah, don't sweat that, folks. But let's get into Flash, Rob. We're already at the 30-minute mark.
Okay,
You wore your special shirt today.
I did.
I knew Rob was already hyping this up when we were talking about Fast X trailer that dropped on Friday. Rob was like, "Just you wait and see. Sunday, the Flash is gonna drop."
I said the Flash is gonna murder this family.
There's a lot of like family posted. Like I don't know if did you send that photo of Fast and Furious X mashed with Flash?
Yeah, you said that. It was hilarious. Okay, listen. Was a very highly anticipated trailer, right? Like we've been hearing a lot of things about this movie. It has been mired in controversy because of star Ezra Miller, but we've been hearing a lot of great things. I've been bringing it up in the news feed and that we've been doing the last number of weeks. You keep saying, "Oh, you're going to get Charlie Brown, Rob. You're on the hype train. You're driving it. You're going to have an issue." And it's, we knew that this is like the first time that Warner Brothers was going to go back and dropping a trailer in, I don't know, however many number of years for Super Bowl, right? And they aired a separate Flash TV spot on Super Bowl as well. Man, my mind just exploded watching that trailer because I wasn't sure what they were going to do with it. We saw something last year where they had released something around Comic-Con, I think it was, John, and it was like a very, very brief tease. It was like maybe in a minute. You didn't really get a sense of what it was. Holy shit, man. This trailer delivered the goods. Honestly, it delivered some intense, first of all, it was great seeing Michael Keaton there. I know people are saying that all the time Michael Keaton still can't turn his neck, but you got to see Michael Keaton's Batman doing things that the 89 Batman couldn't based on limitations of a lack of his VFX, right? Like you saw him getting physical and like beating the crap out of guys and dropping and jumping, and whatnot. I gotta say, I know that the Ezra Miller controversy is there. It's something that's unavoidable, and we know that they are getting, based on reports, they are seeking a lot of treatment and whatnot, and on a road to recovery, and good for them. But I'm not excusing it or pushing it aside. But watching him in this trailer, I was really captivated by his performances just on what we saw. I was like, wow, this guy's like this individual is really impressing me.
Yeah.
Like the acting wise. So,
and you previously were really a fan, right? If you could change something about Justice League, the Snyder Cut, you're kind of like, Ezra Miller, I'm not 100% sold on, right?
No. It was the Snyder Cut that made his performance way better than what it was in the Joss Whedon Justice League.
Yeah.
Like you got a lot more of Ezra Miller in that, and I actually did not like their portrayal in Justice League. And then when you saw what was done with the Zack Snyder version, I was like, this is a much better portrayal of Flash. So I really like that. We got to see Ben Affleck return as Bruce Wayne, Sasha Callie as Callie, whatever, as Supergirl, and it, like they were taking imagery right from Flashpoint, right? With the Superman, who was irradiated or in the dungeon or whatever, who was never exposed to sun. So we got to see it ties back into like Man of Steel. You saw Zod there, like oh man, there's so much goodness, John.
Can you pick was there a favorite point in the trailer? Was there a point in the trailer that just kind of got you and you're like, oh damn, it's on?
Okay. This is like, out of everything, I was like going crazy. But the one thing that got me, like, the ring.
The ring. All right. So I got a picture of the ring because Rob was like, yo, you got to put this ring on here.
Okay. So he has the ring. And I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. All right. It's a Flash ring. And then all of a sudden it turns and spreads open. And then you can see the costume inside of the ring. Like, it looks like a bunch of bubble gums, stuffed into it because it's meant to be like, it's not smooth and shiny. You can see the rubber texture of the costume inside the ring. And I was like, oh my God, they're doing that. I did not expect that. Honestly, I did not expect seeing that at all. We've seen stupidity with the Flash TV show with the ring where he just point every once in a while, maybe once a season, he points his finger out and they go, and I'll be run. I was just unbelievable, man.
Yeah, so that was a huge Flash fanboy moment. I think mine is the obvious one. Mine is the reveal of Michael Keaton, and he just kind of stands there for a while. They it's like wait for it, wait for it. And he's like, yeah, I am Batman, and then he says this iconic line that we've all been saying since '89. I got the date right, huh? '89. I'm Batman. Like, how great was that? Do you have any issues with? I saw some people online criticizing that Burton is this visionary. Like, they're not lighting this Keaton Batman the same way.
I don't give a
shit. You're too enamored right now. You don't care. Later on, maybe you'll pick it apart. But yeah, I think that was Do we want to show?
Well, and we saw like you got this photo down. Like we saw okay, so this was taken from the Super Bowl spot. So they had released a 35-second Super Bowl commercial that had things that were not in the trailer, including what we've got on the screen here. And dude, okay, like look at all of those bat outfits. some with the 80, like the one on the left has got like an old school emblem.
Yeah.
The one next to it, second from the, I guess second from the left, is like it's like gray and blue. Like it looks like it's got like the the marks of the cowl and all that stuff. Like honestly, man, like how do you not as a comic book fan or as a Batman fan, how do you not look at this and go, holy shit? Like,
yeah, a haul of Batman suits. Life don't get much better than this. And some of those iconic moments of those old 80, 89 and up movies that Rob loves so much, and I think everybody loves so much, is the suit up sequence. So for you to throw these in here, the suit looked really good. I think Steve's got a comment here about, I think this is the thing that you sent me. Am I clicking? Are we both clicking at the same time?
No, I didn't click anything. You clicked it. You said the blue and gray Batfleck suit.
Yeah. So I think we got a picture of that there. I might be slowing down here.
There it is.
This guy here. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see
it. It looks good. Affleck is that Affleck? Can you tell if it's Affleck?
Yeah, it's Affleck. It's his cowl. At first I was like, oh, did they not render the suit properly? Because there's like a bunch of like dots all over it. And then like when you like, oh, it's like some type of like,
where'd everything go?
Yeah, it's like weird body armor. But like you saw that there's also a scene where he's on the tumbler, a tumbler like vehicle, and he's got the shot is from behind, and you see the cowl and the cape waving in the wind, and it's blue, and you're like, wait, is that a blue? And then this shot comes up later. You're like, holy shit, they're doing a blue and gray outfit. Like the only thing that would make that even better is if the symbol in the chest was yellow, but we got that on that Hall of Batman stuff. You could see the yellow symbol, classic yellow symbol on the blue and gray. I was like, holy man,
they probably
loved it.
Yeah, they probably wanted some separation from the 89 Batman. So he gets to kind of keep all the yellow and black logos, maybe.
But you tell me, because you were kind of like iffy on this whole entire thing. Listen, nobody's surprised at my exuberance and my excitement right now. Nobody is. But what about you? What are your thoughts?
I think along with the general consensus, is hype about this trailer. They were really impressed. A little bit surprised that the trailer came out so good. I have heard from a bunch of people, not just Rob, that people are saying, "Oh, people have seen screenings of it or whatever," and they're like, "It's really good." So if you're gonna have some fun with a movie, something like this, like if that trailer is an indication of that all over the place, like almost like an Inception meets I don't know what you want to call it, multiverse kind of style, like you know how Doctor Strange was kind of like this multiverse movie that they advertised as a multiverse movie, but it wasn't really. If this is actually the legit deal, that's a whole different story. I was like, are they going to bring Nolan's Batman into this? How cool would that be? When I saw the bike riding around, I'm like, oh, is that the bike from Thing? But it's clearly a slightly different bike, and maybe they're just not going to be able to touch that Nolan stuff.
I think there's going to be a lot. There's still some surprises left to be unveiled in this movie. But it is a multiverse because he says, I've created a world where no metahumans exist, right? Like, and dude, we might be getting a reverse Flash in this. Like, we don't know about this second Barry. Like it's, and you see that shot of lightning going through the one Barry into the next, like, and then there's another shot of the two Flash legs coming together.
Yeah, that's trippy.
Like Kid and Play, and then off they go, right?
House party.
Okay. So honestly, man, I gotta tell you guys, and I know this might be a surprise. I'm more hyped for this movie than I am for Guardians or for anything else coming up this year right now. Like, obviously,
I'm 100% not surprised, Rob. Let's go into the comments for a quick second, and then I'm going to ask you another quick question about this Flash trailer. MJ, thanks for joining us. Talks about Flash possibly erasing everything in that awkward moment where Aquaman 3 has to or Aquaman 2 has to drop and be like, we're gonna still we're gonna do this movie now. Sorry guys, we're out of order here. But yeah, that's gonna be an awkward moment if that's actually what happens.
I'll give you an even bigger awkward moment, John. Shazam comes out in like a month.
Oh yeah, we forgot about Shazam. Yeah, so sorry, the marketing. I think Rob, you speculated that they might have bought a Super Bowl trailer for Shazam. But that is clearly not the case.
Yeah.
I think
I don't think that. Anyways, Shazam. I think it's going to be a disappointment at the box office, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, I think it's gonna actually reap some of the backlash from Black Adam. So I think that's gonna be unfortunate for everyone that worked on Shazam. Like,
I'm still gonna go see it for sure. I'm gonna go see it opening weekend. But
yeah, I think I owe it. I did enjoy the first one, and I never saw it in theater, so I feel like I owe it to the second one to go see in theater. So we'll see how it goes. Michelle says no Bat Dance, so it would be sweet to see. An Adam West nod.
Mm-hmm.
How cool will that be? It looks like it looks like in general everyone is hyped for this movie. So I feel like we can't say enough good things about a trailer coming out that is really solid. And I will shout out this at the end of the trailer, Rob.
Yeah,
first time. I feel like it's one of the first times ever. Maybe Sin City did something like this. But it literally said, "Read where it all began." I've got the image here at the end of the trailer. They put this up. Which is fantastic for us comic shop owners or people who are in the comic realm, that they actually look. It even says go to a comic shop, bookstore, or even go to their DC website. Like,
yeah,
I feel like that's one of the first times in history that they've actually had a nod to that this comes from comic book content. And we've already mentioned it before, the book in the middle, Flashpoint. It looks like a lot of stuff from here is potentially coming from that. And then they've got a couple other great runs there. I remember that Francis Manapul run was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Is that Francis Manapul one?
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
New 52 run. Yeah. But it I think there's a different step. I don't know if this is because of James Gunn or something they finally have decided to do. But it is nice that they're not completely ignoring the fact that comics exist.
Didn't they just do this a couple weeks ago with, was it the Shazam trailer they did it? It was one of the trailers. They or something that you. Oh, you know what it was? It was at the end of the James Gunn presentation. They had a title card, and it said, "Do you remember?" And it said, "Go to a bookstore to a comic shop for these comics or whatever that we use to inspire this new wave that they're going down." So I remember we were talking about that during our review of the announcement that they did. He did put up a title card at the end of his announcement about So this is great, right? Yeah.
So speaking as a retailer, it hurts when I don't know what the first comic book movie is considered, X-Men or whatever, when they open those credits and they might show panels from comic books, but they don't say anything. They don't say visit a local comic shop. They don't say use a 1-800 comic shop locator or whatever. They literally just completely ignore the fact that the comics come from smaller shops like us. So it's nice to see something like this. So I'm really happy to see that pop up. So let's wrap up Flash for now, Rob. I'm sure we're going to talk about it a lot more coming up. And maybe we'll have to do a trailer breakdown or something.
You can't get here soon enough.
Oh my goodness. All right,
man.
Let's wrap up trailer reactions. Thanks everybody. And let's talk about our movie. I feel like I don't even remember what movie it was. We only got a little bit of time left.
John, do you know what tomorrow is?
Tomorrow is the day that you realize, oh crap, I didn't get anything. So you're like, all right, we gotta go to Shoppers Drug Mart or line up. I remember during the pandemic, Felix and Norton, they were doing you had to book your cookies in advance and line up.
Okay.
Biggest mob I've ever seen. And the first time I ever saw the enforcement guys kind of out checking that safety protocols were being met and stuff like that. It was nuts. The biggest crowd I've ever seen at our plaza, probably in a long time. But yeah, what is it, Rob?
It is Valentine's Day, my friend. And you wanted to pick one of the most romantic movies of the 20th century.
Yes. What movie is this?
Are you going to throw it up?
Yeah, I'm going to.
There we are. Little True Romance, man. Before I get the rundown, have you seen this before we watched it for the show?
I had watched it once, kind of, and I feel like I didn't. Maybe it was on TV or something. Because it always kept coming up when you would watch some Tarantino stuff. Everyone's discussion would kind of move along and go, "Hey, he wrote True Romance, and Natural Born Killers, and all this stuff, and all this stuff happened." So I hadn't sat down. I feel like I haven't seen it in a long time. I've seen parts of it, so this is probably my first time watching the entire thing, front to back.
I have a very amazing history with this movie.
All right.
But I'm going to give you a rundown first. Ready?
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
All right, released 30 years ago, John, September 10th, 1993. True Romance is written by Quentin Tarantino and directed by the late, great director of Tony Scott. This movie, the cast of this movie is stacked. Are you ready, John? Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken, Bronson Pinchot, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Rappaport, Canadian Saul Rubinek, James Gandolfini, Chris Penn, and Tom Sizemore.
Whew. Did you say Val Kilmer? You said Val Kilmer, right? All right.
Yeah. Released after Reservoir Dogs, it was Tarantino's first screenplay for a major motion picture, and Tarantino had hoped to actually direct the film, but ended up lost interest in directing and ended up selling it to the studio instead. Not only do we have a stellar cast, director, and writer, but we also have, John, Hans Zimmer as the composer of this movie.
A really bizarre musical theme for the movie, right?
Yeah. Upon its release, the budget for the movie was $12.5 million and brought in a whopping $12.6 million at the box office.
Yo, profit!
Now, despite the minimal money made, the movie gained a massive cult following once it dropped on home video in the spring of 1994. And upon its release, John, in theaters, it was critically praised, with some calling it one of the most dynamic action movies of the 90s, but was also labeled a movie that would likely offend a good-sized portion of the movie-going population. According to Rotten Tomatoes, the movie currently holds a 93% score for both critics and audiences. So, John, does this romance ring true, or is this dancing into a bad romance by Lady Gaga?
Lady Romance! Lady Gaga is what I wanted to say. Lady Romance. Wow. What a crazy happenstance of events that Tarantino has to sell this off in order to fund his other project or whatever the things that happen behind the scenes. So I wonder if some bizarre world we have a version that's directed by him. But I think you're right. When you mentioned in the intro, there was nothing kind of like that quite hit like this type of movie. And it would get more, so it's considered kind of flop, right? If it only made an extra 500. Yeah. It's generally considered a flop, but it kind of flourishes now and afterwards, and word of mouth and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, yeah, and so the movie, I mean, it comes out in September, so obviously it's got a bad rap doing the early fall movie release. During the production, Tony Scott had made some changes to the ending, and Tarantino apparently was pretty pissed about it until he saw it. And Tarantino's, not one to concede things. He was like, you know what? My hat's off. You actually made it better than what I had written down. Because I think the original ending was that they were both to die in a blaze of glory, like Bonnie and Clyde. And Tony Scott said, no, we're not. That's not how we're ending this love story, right?
That sounded more like a Tarantino ending, though, if both of these characters did not make it through it. So I was actually kind of happy to see that these characters survive at the end. I couldn't remember for a second there. I remember the whole the blood on his eye thing, and I was like, wait, is he gone? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks, let us know your thoughts on
his eyeball blown out.
Yeah.
Blood on his eye.
It didn't
get a paper cut.
They don't make it seem like that until they cut later on that he's wearing an eye patch.
No, when the camera's over him and his eye is missing and full of blood, John, that's a pretty good indication.
It looks like a
paper
slice. Yeah, it looked like maybe he got grazed or whatever.
Yeah, somebody sprayed some ketchup from a hot dog.
But I feel like well, anyways.
Okay, so I gotta tell you, so I was working at a video store when this came out, John.
Yeah, let's go.
I was 18 and I didn't see it in the theaters. But I remember this coming out and there was a lot of hype around this movie. Like, people have to remember what it was like the time of movies between 1992 and 1996. There was like a whole a change in the type of movies that we were getting, right? Like these art house kind of indie movies, but then it had this crazy storytelling. It was very frenetic. You can go to obviously the easiest one would have been Reservoir Dogs, but then you go with Blood In, Blood Out, American Natural Born Killers, True Romance, and then obviously the culmination, the peak of that would have been Pulp Fiction, Tarantino's movie. But all these movies that were coming out, they had such a different spin on how the storytelling was being done, and it was pushing the envelope of Americana. And so when this was coming out, it had huge buzz. in the video stores. I remember I was working for a major. It was like Rogers or whatever. So we had a bunch of copies for it, and I took it home before, because you needed to watch it beforehand. I watched it like two times that night, like back to back. I was like, "What am I just?" And I rewound it and watched the whole thing all over again. I was absolutely enamored with this movie, and I have watched it so many times. And then I took a long break from it because there was so many other things that were happening and so many other things. And I rewatched it in 2019. And then I rewatched it again just recently. And I love this. I love this movie. And I thought to myself, if I end up in an old age home and I'm by myself and they're like, you can bring 100 movies on a flash drive and then you can only bring 100 movies to watch. This would be in one of my that I would watch repeatedly. I love this movie, man.
Yeah, I didn't expect to like it this much. I don't think I'm as enamored with it as you are. It did make me want to watch a bunch of other Tarantino stuff, so I fired up Pulp Fiction again after finishing it. But it's pretty good. I feel like when I watched it, or I watched part of it back then, I probably didn't get it. But okay. now that I watch it now, I wish I did watch it back in the day because I would have seen the significance of these characters, the way that he kind of brings these characters to life. And I feel like it's the beginning of the whole kind of, the bad guys actually have a story. Like the bad guys have a little like quirks and things going on with them that you actually want to root for them. And even Slater and Patricia, they're not really good guys per se, right? They're kind of like, almost criminal. Like this is a crime movie, right? So
they're flawed. They're deeply flawed. They're flawed individuals who have found love, lightning in a bottle, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You can feel it too. I think especially the opening scenes and stuff when they're first kind of going on the crazy ride before things start to get dark for them. You can kind of feel the energy. So when I was watching, I was like, I feel like this is actually, it kind of was a joke choice for Valentine's Day. But I also feel like it's a pretty good take on like kind of like this hot, crazy romance that just spins out into this ridiculous situation of danger and crazy things happening. And I was really scared for them at the end that they weren't going to make it because I couldn't remember 100%. I'm like, do they all die? I don't remember what's going on. But it's pretty over the top, and all the people in it is crazy. It's just nuts. Like,
and like, listen, this movie is not without its issues. The one thing I always think about when we're watching these movies from 30 years ago, John, nowadays, is does it hold up? And there's a lot of, I remember, back in the day, there was a lot of questions about Tarantino's use of certain words in his scripts and movies. Spike Lee was obviously very outspoken about it, and then Tarantino had a lot of defenders, including Samuel L. Jackson and whatnot. And so does the movie hold up in its theme, and it does overall? And I think that the movie does hold up, but I also think you have to look at it from a lens of that this is reflective of a time 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And even then, at the time when it came out, it was still a little bit cringe worthy at times, but it was over the top in its use of certain vernacular on purpose. But the chemistry in this, and then like the scene where James Gandolfini, which by the way, he was cast in The Sopranos after the casting director saw him in this movie. They're like, this is the guy we need for The Sopranos. But watching him, in that fight scene with Patricia Arquette is so like nauseating at times because it's just so like it's intense, man. It is intense.
Yeah. Not remembering exactly the outcome of that. It's a crazy scene, and I think it's one. There's basically two controversial kind of scenes in this movie, and one is the Dennis Hopper, Christopher Walken,
the Sicilian conversation,
torture Sicilian scene, and then the other one is the length of the beating that Alabama gets from this hitman character, and it's brutal. It's vicious.
Yeah.
But I did find kind of like I thought it was cool that she basically handles it on her own, right?
Yeah.
She's not crying for help or anything. She just kind of like does it, and she does win in the end. But it's a long scene where you're just like, oh my god, this is brutal, right? To see her take this punishment, and it's pretty scary, right?
Yeah, and no, it is, and it is a little bit cringe-inducing at moments, more so probably now than what I felt 30 years ago. Yeah. Also, the Sicilian scene is by far probably one of my favorite moments of that movie because of just powerful acting between Dennis Hopper and
Christopher
Walken. Thanks. I mean, it was so like, listen, we've lost Dennis Hopper. Like he's passed away numerous years ago. And then to see him in this, and you're like, wow, I completely forgot. And there's moments where he went back into his old 60s phase where he's like, come on, man. Like that. Like he was saying to his son, I was like, there's the Hopper we know. Here's the Easy Rider.
He gets a crazy kiss from Patricia Arquette.
Yeah, she gets a kiss, and he's like,
whoa,
he's like a peach. But yeah, that's it's a scene that's, at the time was heralded for its conversation, and that was the one thing that Tarantino was always known for is the conversation of things, right? Yeah. I still love that scene, despite I know that it's, it has its issues with, again, some of the vernacular.
Yeah.
But I was like watching these two, watching Christopher Walken play second fiddle, essentially, which Christopher Walken is a scene stealer in and of itself.
Yeah.
But then to see him just like sit back and let Dennis Hopper give that soliloquy, right? And the history of Sicily. I was like, man, and just watching his facial expressions, right?
Yeah. Would you reproduce that scene nowadays? No, 100%. I think you stay away from something like that because of the negative things that could happen, right? But is it kind of amazing to see those performers interact? Yeah, that's really cool. So despite what you think of the content of that scene, those two performers interacting with each other, it's not anywhere else. I don't think they meet up in any other movies or anything like that, right? So
yeah,
so that was crazy. So let's dive into it, Rob. Do you have a favorite scene or moment from this movie? Like if you had to narrow it down, like if this was going in the fire, what is the scene that you save and you're like, I gotta watch this over and over again,
Well, I would say the Sicilian speech, but if there was one scene I would probably, if I had to save it, I would save it because, John, I have a massive bone to pick with this, and it's the final scene in the hotel.
the three-way shootout, which is the ridiculous thing that is all set up by one of my favorite scenes, the Brad Pitt Floyd. He's like, you got to go down this way, and then you keep going until it goes here.
Yeah, Floyd was
you guys want some of this? And they're like,
yeah, Floyd was amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I thought Brad Pitt did a phenomenal job. But that whole scene, so if you have watched it, maybe you didn't notice this. Maybe you have to go back and rewatch it. If you haven't seen it in a while, you got to go back and rewatch it. It's the big shootout.
Yeah.
And the whole setup is great. It's funny. But then you've got the FBI working with the cops, and then you've got the gangsters, the Italian mobs from New York that are there, and then you've got the producer, the Hollywood producer with his, with Thor
with his goons who are just like, I don't like cops.
Right, from the 1988 Incredible Hulk Returns movie, Thor. Yeah. So the one guy gets shot. The one cop. So it's Chris Penn and this other guy, and they're behind this like TV console thing. They have the movie playing in the background, and they're shooting. And then at one point, the camera's behind them, and it goes in front of them. And the guy on the left, not Chris Penn, you can see he's got this white fanny pack.
Yeah, with like red. I thought it was a weird fanny pack.
Right, with like red bullseye on it. And you're like, what the hell is that? And all of a sudden the guy, he's shooting, and then he gets shot, and you see the fanny pack go with blood. And I'm like, oh. And then it's sitting there, and he's like, oh my God, they shot me. And he's looking down, and Chris Penn looks down like, oh shit, you got shot. But you've got this like, the blood pack has popped open, right? And he's walking with a gun. And then he goes and he slumps into the couch, and there's feathers from all the blown up pillows and stuff. And he's like, oh my God, he's looking down, he's grabbing feathers, and then he starts moving the fanny pack out of the shot as if nobody notices. And it's like, dude, we've seen that. Like, how
it's hanging out there. It looks like a ridiculous belt buckle when you watch the scene again. I remember looking at it going, what is that thing? I don't understand. But then the bullets just start flying, and I'm like, I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, and I had to record it and send it to you because so ever since I've seen, like, when I first saw this movie in 1994, I was like, what the hell? Like, I can't believe they've left that scene in, but because of that scene, I love that moment. I love that entire scene. So this print is on fire. I'm grabbing that last act of this movie and saving it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna I have to grab that Gary Oldman scene with Drexel and Clarence. Yeah. Oh man, I love Spivey Drexel. I think is his name or something like that, right? He is great. Like I can't believe. Like, I don't know what you would call it. I don't know if you can call it cultural appropriation or whatever, but I think he's playing a character that thinks he's in that, like he thinks he's Jamaican. Yeah, he's in that, but the accent he comes up with, the whole speech is fantastic. He's like, oh, you came in here, you gave all my, you don't know who I am, you put everything on the table, like you don't know me from, and he's like flicking the light at him.
Yeah, he's got like the lamp, and he keeps tilting the lamp.
Yeah, and the music, the techno music, is like boom, boom, like going in the background. It fits so perfect. And then at some point, Christian Slater's like, well, I've already seen that movie. That's why I'm not looking, and I'm doing this. You don't know, but like, and he kind of like comes back with all the stuff, and it's just a funny ass scene that I just love to watch over and over again. But yeah, that triple threat showdown at the end is pretty crazy. And our guy Bronson Pinchot, Valentine Bartakis, he's great in this movie, eh?
Yeah, when he was on the roller coaster and they're talking about the drug deal, right? And he's like, no, he's going down, and he's like freaking out and screaming. I was like, oh, that's me. Yeah, that's me.
He's great in the elevator where Christian Slater's like faking him out and then shaking him down. He's great in it.
Yeah,
he's like
I just want to go home. I just want to go home. Yeah,
and he's like, we're good, which blows the whole thing up. That guy who plays the agent,
Chris
Tom
Sizemore. Yeah.
He played. I feel like he plays like the dad on Friends or some other show or something like that. The director guy who's supposed to be like a Joel.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that's
Is that
he's a Canadian. What did I say his name was?
Is it Saul Rubinek or something?
Saul Rubinek. Yeah, he's awesome, right? Like,
he's great. Yeah. He's really great. He's like, wait, how come you know his name? What's going on? He's like, you, and then he kicks the whole thing off.
You'll never work in this town again.
He's like, he lights the fuse to everybody's death. Everybody's death. So yeah. There's too many great like little performances that work. Even Michael Rappaport, he's doing that random interview or the audition. He's like, oh yeah, Bill Shatner's on the front of your car. He's like driving the car in the most ridiculous way.
Yeah, I know, like, doing it like this. He goes, what the fuck is that guy?
Get him on. And that scene doesn't need to be there, but it's there. And it's great. So yeah, shout outs to Tony.
He
Scott.
lives, but he was able to live another day. He grabbed the bag of dope and he threw it up in the air and then he took off.
Yeah, he just runs. Yeah, and it explodes everywhere. All right. So Rob, would you put this, like, if we were saying, hey Rob, what are your favorite Tarantino movies? Do you put this on that list now on your DVD collection? If you have a section that has, Pulp Fiction and Django and Once Upon a Time,
called Django.
I don't know. Django, Hateful Eight, all that stuff. Do you put your True Romance in that section?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'd put it after Reservoir Dogs before Pulp Fiction. I would put it there.
Yeah.
But with like a little asterisk, right? Like it's it's written by Tarantino, but it's not directed obviously by him. But I would say though that it's been a long time since I've seen Natural Born Killers, but Natural Born Killers felt like an Oliver Stone movie, and not like a Tarantino movie. And in this one,
I think that's what Tarantino says. Tarantino's like he redid it. It's his movie.
And in this one, Tony Scott really, I think, he stayed to the source material, but it was still a very Tony Scott action production. You could tell, right? But he really kept a lot of that source material. So I would likely put this one in my Tarantino collection with an asterisk. I probably would not put Natural Born Killers in the Tarantino collection, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You leave that out. But yeah, you can definitely tell the DNA of the characters basically all having like something cool or something interesting going on. For sure. It's like all the dialogue. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Tony Scott just used all his dialogue and just did his Tony Scott thing and made everything look super pretty.
What did you think of the Sonny Chiba stuff?
Yeah.
Which is so funny because Sonny Chiba is in Kill Bill, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, there's a lot in this movie that harkens back to other movies that Tarantino ended up doing.
Well, yeah, the whole argument is that Tarantino basically wrote. It's basically him. He's the Christian Slater character, right?
Clarence. He
works
Clarence.
at the comic store and all that kind of stuff, and gets into this stuff. So yeah, that I thought it was I like Christian Slater's performance in this too. But Rob, okay, next question, Rob. What do you get on White Boy Day? What happens on White Boy Day? What do you get? Do you get a pass?
You get KD.
Crab dinner.
Yeah, you get a bowl of KD. You get to listen to the hip, and you can wear socks with your Birkenstocks.
Yeah, and sandals with your sandals as well.
Your sandals. Yeah. Socks and sandals. And
you get a pass if you go confront a drug dealer. He's only got one eye. I guess he gives you a pass. I don't know what you get. I don't know exactly what you get on White Boy Day, but that was so funny. It ain't White Boy Day, is it?
Like, what did you think of that scene though with Samuel L. Jackson? Right, like
oh my god, that was.
There's no reason as to why he blew them away. Like sorry, they were bringing the drugs. He decided to rob them of the drugs or whatever, right? Of the money. So. But yeah, like it was just kind of silliness, right? It was ridiculous.
I was like, oh, Sam Jackson's in this movie. Oh, Sam Jackson's out of this movie. He's gone. See you later. So that's okay. Okay, so thank you everybody for watching True Romance with us. Or if you didn't, Lewis, maybe we convinced you. Probably not. But let's talk a little bit about the director, Rob, because I think we maybe want to stay in this realm for next week's viewing. Tony Scott. Like, would you put this in your Tony Scott top 5 then?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I don't know about you, John. Like, I mean, every time I watch this movie, I never feel like I've wasted my time watching it.
Yeah.
We always talk about that. There's always so many things to watch. It gets overwhelming, and we forget about all the really cool shit that we have that we, in our repertoire of shit. I got to start going back to some of my old favorites, man, because we lose track of this shit. I will watch this again before the end of this year. I fucking love
it. I was gonna say, would you own this? Would you stream this when it happens to come on, or whatever? But it looks like you would own this. You would 100%.
Yeah, I have it on. I have it on Blu-ray, I think, or on DVD at least, or maybe on both. So yeah.
I don't think I would have to own this, but if it's on my streaming services, I think that I'm okay with that. But I think I would rather go to another Tarantino movie before I go to this. But I still did really enjoy this. So I feel like I am going to want to watch this at some point again, for sure.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. But yes, Tony Scott, we obviously the brother of Ridley Scott, vastly different directing styles, yet both utterly successful in their. I mean, Tony Scott directed one of your favorites, the original Top Gun.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's directed.
I know that Top Gun.
Yeah, he's directed a lot of really, really cool shit. I think he also directed. Did he direct Man on Fire? I don't remember.
Yeah, Man on Fire. Did he do Unstoppable with Chris Pine and Denzel again? I feel like that's his movie.
Yeah, he might have.
We might have to bring up a what's it called? An IMDb. Domino. There was a movie called Domino. I remember I didn't really like it back in the day. But
he did do Unstoppable.
Yeah, Unstoppable. I think is a fantastic movie. If you guys haven't seen Unstoppable.
Crimson Tide, Enemy of the State.
Yeah, Crimson Tide was
Last
a big
Boy
one.
Scout. We did that. Remember a couple of years ago. Beverly Hills Cop 2. That's kind of one of the first movies that you and I had watched together.
Yeah.
When we started the show. He's done quite a bit, including a little Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
Called Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder. I feel like Days of Thunder. So, folks, if you've got any other input. But I think we're pretty set on rewatching Days of Thunder, starring the man Tom Cruise, directed by Tony Scott. Do you think we'll see a legacy-like sequel, a la Top Gun? when Top Gun Maverick. I don't know what his character's name was in Days of Thunder, but will we see Days of Thunder?
Cole Tricky.
Cole Tricky in maybe like 5 to 10 years.
Cole Trickle. Yeah. Cole Trickle. That sounds like a really bad porn name.
Oh, I almost put my mic off the table. Cole Trickle. Yeah, I was gonna. Oh, this is another option, Rob. So, would you keep your copy of True Romance, stream it, or would you upgrade to 4K?
I'd probably upgrade to 4K on that one.
Yeah. I feel like we should introduce some rating system. But yeah, Lewis says he's got Days of Thunder on 4K. So is this one of the rare movies that Lewis is going to watch with us?
I haven't seen this movie in a really long time. I actually went to the theater to see this movie, John. 1990. But I have not been. I don't remember the last time I saw this movie. It's got to be 25 years.
Yeah, I've watched it. I feel like I've watched it semi-recently. Within the last couple of years, I did rewatch.
But I do know that it's currently playing on Paramount Plus in Canada. It's streaming there. So, but this is the movie. Yeah, I mean, I know. Yeah, listen, Tommy Cruise has got a lot going on the next couple of years, and he's part of our Mission Monday, where, if you don't remember, every first Monday of the month we are reviewing a Mission Impossible movie as we count down to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So we're going to double dip on Tom Cruise in the month of February. Next Monday, the 20th. It's Family Day weekend, John. But on Monday, we'll be dipping into the Days of Thunder, starring Tom Cruise.
Days of Thunder. Did you ever go on the ride when they had it at Wonderland?
Well, what's it called now? I mean, isn't it just?
I have no clue, dude. I never got onto it. You know that the lineups for those things were ridiculous back in the day.
I don't remember what it's called now. I might. Oh yeah, it was. Wasn't it? It's now called the Stunt Coaster or whatever. So yeah,
oh, really?
I think that's the one. I don't know. Anyways,
I thought it was a screen where you're just in seats and the screen just bounces you around.
Oh, you might be right. I don't know. Oh no, it was the Italian Job. It was the Italian Job that's now called Stunt Coaster. That's what.
Yeah. And then Top Gun is now whatever they call it now. But they had a ride that was Days of Thunder, and I think you just were in front of a screen.
Okay.
And the seats moved.
Oh, yeah. I just save your money. I'll put you in a wheelie chair like this and just move.
Yeah. You get a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
Throw him in an office chair, not this busted one that I'm sitting on, the one that works, and just wheel yourself around the parking lot. So, thank you, everybody. Join us for Days of Thunder next week. Rob said, stream it on Paramount Plus, or pick up a copy. Pick up a 4K copy like Lewis. Lewis, what do you have your 4K copy on? Is it on Apple that sells 4K copies?
He probably has it on disc.
Oh, you have to buy disc for. Oh yeah, we went over this before. We said if you're streaming, you can never truly get 4K, just because it doesn't.
I'm gonna take a look to see.
Yeah,
Apple on of course their site is not working right now. But yeah, anyways, you can find your copy there. You can go on to wherever it's in a high def or something or other on Apple TV Plus, on Paramount Plus. You can check it out there. But
yeah, so we're going back again. We're doing another older movie. If you guys want to do something newer next time, let us know. I feel like we are going to do Man on Fire at some point. But yeah, we're going to Days of Thunder. We're going to race.
We're probably also going to have it is on 4K on iTunes. We're probably also going to have to hit Shazam at some point before the Shazam 2 drops, John.
I don't know if I'm going to watch that one again. I'm just thinking about it now. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm going to make you watch Zack Snyder's.
No, you know what? It had some fun. Shazam had some fun moments in it. I think I would give it another watch. Yeah, Michelle. Yeah, if you can find some VHSs, you can probably get them for less than 99 cents.
Yeah,
99 cents probably get you a whole box.
Yeah,
get you a whole box of VHSs.
To play it though.
Yeah, I feel like that looks kind of cool on your shelf if you have a collection of VHSs now. That's like a thing now. But anyways, thank you very much, Rob.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm pretty sure you're going to geek out about some more Flash. Oh, the question I was going to ask you: do you think you're going to watch this Flash trailer more times than you watched the Batman trailer?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, hands down. He's like, hands down. Flash. There's a lot going on in it. So if you guys haven't watched it, watch it. You can run this back and listen to us talk about it. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're keeping you here a little long. So Rob, thank you again.
Thanks, buddy.
We will see you guys later in the week or
See you
next
week.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.